here in Consalia with retaking our sales frequency program. It's a lovely sun out there, so I hope that if you don't see us today, you can stream later. So with me, hi Will, good morning.
Hi Jesus, how are you? Hi Ofer.
Hi Will.
And we have Ofer Zilberman, our super precious guest. How are you doing, Ofer, today?
I'm doing just fine. And yeah, the sun just moved behind the window, so you can see me nice, clear, and no kind of sunny spot all over me, which is a lovely problem in where we are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that there will be a lot of people attending today because we are talking about AI sales. Aviso, we recently announced this partnership between Aviso and Consalia. So we have the honor of having today Ofer Zilberman is, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Product Officer of Aviso. So you're in the trenches of revenue operations, next to the revenue leaders. Before you come from great companies like, ServiceNow, SAP, Board. So you know how to deal with sales revenues, and you've joined recently Aviso, Ofer.
Yes, 25 years. I've been in various ops roles, execution roles, in the companies you had mentioned and more. And yeah, it was a kind of a pivot when Trevor, CEO of Aviso, came to me and said, "Can be the chief product officer." I was thinking chief product officer, and then on second thought, that's what I did my whole life. I built products to my internal customers. The only difference is now that my internal customers go times hundreds and hopefully soon thousands. Then that is definitely a welcome channel.
That's good. That's good. So, we have some, there are a lot of statistics, right, coming from different sources. We recently saw from Gartner that 95% of seller research workflows will begin with AI, up from less than 20% in 2024. So it really looks like there is a growing trend on AI, and many people is talking about AI, agentic AI. There is a lot of jargon around. Should we set up maybe the scene for the audience to what's the difference, Ofer?
I'm not going to be I'm not the expert on AI, but I'll try to say it from my point of view and many in the industry. So if you think about it, I started my career as a developer, as a C++ developer. And at the time, when we were coding, we were calling that instructions, literally. We were writing instructions to a computer machine, and the computer machine would go and execute those. And then you run an executable, literally, and execution follows according to the instruction that you had given. If you think about LLM models, which is ChatGPT, it's almost the same. You write a question, and you get an answer based on the knowledge that the AI has been trained on. So that's your, if you like, your LLM, the most basic level of AI at the that you can think of. Then comes the next level is if you think about it is LLM that goes and retrieves as they are considering the answer that they're going to give you. So, for example, if you ask, tell me about Napoleon and his achievements in a 500 words essay. So it will go to the archives and bring it back. But if you ask, tell me about President Trump's latest tweets, there's not been training. So they need to go and retrieve it and then compute the answer that they're going to give you. So that's called LLM plus RAG, retrieval. Then comes the AI agent. The AI agent is the next level where you are instructing an AI entity, so to speak, to go and execute this task. Go buy me all the ingredients for a recipe. That's already someone going and picking up from putting it in the basket, having your credit card details, and executing the entire thing on your behalf. And then comes the word that confuses, I guess, most people is the agentic. Agentic comes from agency. When you talk about agency, a person with agency is a person that not only can do stuff, they can reason, they can adjust course, a correct course as challenges come their way. They can learn from mistakes. Yeah, they can execute the entire task, execute it 100 times, and then kind of look back and reflect and say, did I do a good job, or can I do something different? So that's a person with agency, and that's where agentic AI kicks in. Agentic AI represents typically multi-agent workflows, and orchestration, where they activate those AI agents in a sequence that makes sense. It's dynamic. It has memory. It has context. It's not like go buy this, come back with the rest, all the ingredients. It has context that last time you didn't like a certain ingredient and now you want to switch something else. It's not like a robot. And yeah, so it's autonomous in its execution and learning. So kind of bringing all the goodness of a human, maybe to automation or computer, if you like, execution. And the computer execution takes a completely different level.
Dimension, it's like more humanized, right? Because now it's like
humanized,
yeah. So I mean, we recently see as well a lot of statistics that the sales reps are spending very little time, even below 30% real selling, right? And processing. I wonder, maybe it's good to explain to the audience what is the Aviso unique proposition. What do you do? What do you do? What makes you unique to stand out from the rest of, kind of platform software? What are the challenges that you help the customers to respond to? I mean, maybe we can dedicate a few minutes to this just to set up. Where is Aviso playing the game?
Sure. So wherever Aviso, I'd say for first and foremost, we are the future of revenue, how you incorporate AI into the revenue process, what the future looks like we're trying to implement today. But we can talk a lot about AI, but in the end of the day, our customers, what they're interested, there's several ways to skin this cat. Like when you talk about sales reps, for example, we have huge focus on the sales reps. Everybody says we want more productivity, but what does productivity really mean? It comes for me in two ways. It's efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency is giving you time back in your hands. Okay, so speaking of AI agents, I'm going to execute mundane tasks that I don't want you to spend time on. For example, if you AI sits, conversational intelligence sits on all the sales calls and they pick up metric criteria being fulfilled, they can automatically propose to the rep. You've already qualified this metric criteria. Here's the description. I'm going to put it into the CRM system because that needs to be filled in. That's something your company mandates. It all happens kind of on the fly, right? The rep today needs to, when it comes to a deal inspection, they need to sit down, fulfill all the metric criteria, fulfill all the activities, all the summaries of the deal. this all happens autonomously, and the rep has time to focus on more customer-facing time. So that's efficiency, and efficiency is gained in many, many ways through the Aviso platform, whether it's cadencing, cadences that the rep runs, it's sequencing, meaning the outreach that a rep needs to do. There's forecasting, etc. So that's for sure something we cater for. It's almost the easy part of the day-to-day. Then you come to effectiveness, is how you are being more impactful in front of a customer. That's when you give real-time insights, real-time nudges. You are now carrying if you are in a customer call and you've been carrying a monologue for over 17 minutes and you didn't take a breather, like I'm myself now, and don't ask, and go ask an open question, and like let things sink for a moment, and don't try to completely lose the audience in a very long monologue, right? So again, those little nudges, those little real time, as I said, little instructions can help a rep gain more credibility in front of a customer. There is account planning, for example. AI can help with account planning. Just build the account plan, do the account research, and let the rep really add value to the account plan in the areas where it's going to be more impactful for the customer, such as the value proposition of the company. Also, that can be at least pre-constructed by AI, but the rep can focus on that rather than trying to read 3 10Ks from the last 3 earning calls and figure out what's going on there, because those documents can be very, very long. So I think I've given a couple of examples. There's many more. But it's not only the rep, right? There's the managers that sit on top of the reps, and they need their insights. They need to get their insights fast, because if a deal goes south and they can step in and they can influence that deal, they need that insights popping fast. You have your managers orchestrating many go-to-market functions. So they need all those roles around the sales rep operating in a very efficient manner. The marketing or partner managers or solution consulting, or you name it, that needs to step into the sales cycle. You have senior management. Senior management, you then want further. They are concerned about the revenue end to end. They're not just concerned. They know if you booked 1 million and you lost 1 million in the same period, you are in the same space, in the same place. So they want to be also future-proof, where reps and managers live very much in the current next quarter. Senior managers know if average sales cycle is 12 months, they got to be doing stuff now to close it 12 months from now. Where's that insight coming from? Right? And we're unique in that space. Will is smiling because I've spoken about it in many GSTs. We are unique in that space, that we're solving for it. If you look at our competition, they are mostly living in current quarter and next quarter. The notion of pipeline or pipeline health, which we'll have a dedicated session for that later on, is extremely important and already built into the platform. So, and I can go on and on and on. I'm getting a nudge from my AI that I should stop. But yeah, so there's that, and we want predictability, and some customers come to us because they want to be on this rocket ship of AI, right? There's
that's
definitely
fantastic.
some of
that. I mean, we've had the opportunity to see Aviso in action, and it's incredible, right? Because you take all the sales cycle from the moment where the sales reps have to start to think about or explore a lead or prepare the first meeting, etc. So you help them there, but you help them all across the cycle to qualify, to close the deal faster, and at the end to have a good monitoring with KPIs, etc., for having like a single pane of glass, right, for the managers. So I think you are AI native, and you use AI in all of the steps, and that's the incredible thing of Aviso, right? I believe that one of the things I like the most from what I've seen of her is the fact that you are applying AI at the top upper funnel, because some of the players, not to mention anyone, is more focused more when the lead has been qualified, so it's more focused on the interactions with clients, etc. But if you're not qualified, really a good potential client, then you're wasting the time, right? Doesn't matter, you are super efficient.
Yeah, so we have AI avatars that not only help you qualify before a human gets involved. It's a thing maybe I neglected to mention in the AI definition. You give a goal in agentic AI, an AI that where an AI agent, let's call it, or an avatar, which is a human representation of AI. You give them a goal. So, for example, our SDR goal, our inbound SDR, is to get a name and a contact number and an email. And they sit all the time on the website, and anyone can go and interact 24/7.
Yeah.
Not just website, our customers' website as well. They can interact 24/7 with that avatar, and in the end, the avatar is trying to find which way they can get the goal that, like, you've done a good job. Is if you got the name and you got the number and you got some good intent, that's what the AI agent is trained to do. However, we are a platform, and what does a platform mean? So going back to my RevOps and what you alluded to, Jesus, going up to my RevOps background, I struggled with every company I was with the point solutions. We had a whole GST on it a couple of years ago. The point solutions along the sales, not just sales process, but the revenue process, including customer success, including renewals. Every step, there is someone who thought about a great idea how to implement something. So where Aviso comes in, we are trying to address this problem and replace the point solutions that that you have it on one platform. So when you run a sequence, for example, which is an email, LinkedIn message, whatever, you don't just take that sequence and use it to spam customers. You are personalizing it with AI, but personalization is not like going and into Jesus' web presence and trying to find everything that Jesus did, whether it's LinkedIn, websites, wherever I can find your name. It's also a place for product marketing of the organization to create a playbook, a sales playbook, and say, we're looking for a specific vertical. We have a value proposition for specific vertical, and we are looking for specific personas. And if you find that persona, that's how you message them. That's what Jesus cares about, not just what Jesus did. And then you combine the two, you get a really great personalization for your outreach. And then when Jesus comes to the website, the inbound SDR I mentioned before, avatar, is also trained on the same playbook, and the playbook has the qualification questions that will qualify Jesus into the pipeline. And we treat qualification questions differently between ICP and non-ICP. So if you are an ICP customer, ideal customer profile, we would need to qualify you out, if it makes sense, right? By default, you're in. The qualification questions will be geared towards, are you seriously looking to buy, or are you creating some kind of a short list that you are just and we are equal weight with all the competition, so to speak. And for a non-ICP, you got to qualify in, because you are not in our ideal customer profile. So if you are a good high intent transaction, yes, we're happy to do business with you, but you're not, like, if you're gonna cause us a lengthy sales cycle, and in the end we're competing with a lot of other companies, we're not gonna step in. So a long way of saying, we are reusing every component we have across the platform, from outreach to inbound to customer success. Everywhere, it's the same component getting reused.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Ofer. Just going back to, effectiveness and what your comments were around effectiveness. I was just wondering, is the platform able to identify potential in so much as it recognizes, say I'm a frontline salesperson and I'm engaged in a sales opportunity, but how I might be engaging with that person could be improved. Does it recognize the sort of activities, the behaviors, the language I might be using, the written kind of, I guess, emails, or how I might be approaching my prospect, and identifying, those specific ways of improvement?
So yes, we have a sales enablement and a coaching avatar module. The coaching avatar can tell you how you're doing. You can train it on your best reps. You can train it on sales methodologies and best practices. But I think you're coming to a point which in our discussion is about the partnership, basically, that we have established, where I think there's a huge difference between sales enablement and the kind of mindsets that Consalia brings to the table. And that's where, I don't know if Jesus, you want to take.
Yeah. I mean, it's we are going to be entering into the reason why of the partnership, right? Because of course, Aviso is everything about technology, everything about AI, and in Consalia, it's everything about humans and personas, right? And also through our consulting practice, processes and strategy. But before we jump into this, Ofer, because I know that many people will be asking. I mean, we may have a lot of people on the audience coming from private companies, and there are a lot of AI solutions or AI consultants, or so and there are some, let's say, some of them are reluctant, right, or not convinced yet of the results, the return on investment, or or what are the outcomes on AI. I think in Aviso you are quite advanced on that, because you have great companies you're working to, and you have already some proven return on investment, if you want to call it. I know that it's not the main core, but I think it's good that if you give us like a 1 minute on one or two cases that comes to your mind, because many times when we talk to the senior management, we receive this kind of sentence like, well, another technology, or AI, maybe I'm not sure if this is going to be what they promise. So can you give us a couple of hints on
Look, there's if you go to our logo page, right, and you see the logos that have trusted themselves in Aviso, those are big enterprise companies. We're talking about Lenovo. We're talking about now exactly
NetApp, no?
NetApp, yes. And it's not that just they jumped in on the deep end. They've assessed us, and the only comment we got from Lenovo. The only complaint we got from Lenovo was, why did we just do a POC and didn't go straight in? Because it was you know, they saw the value and they were just sorry that they didn't get it across the board, and it took them time. But understandably, it's a leap, right? And I'd say AI, you know, any of us that used any ChatGPT or whatever GPT version or provider that you have used, you've seen it sometimes working, sometimes not working. You need to address the prompts, change the prompts that you are using, so you get a better qualified answer. And I'd say this rocket ship is going one way. If it's not clear to people, I think for anyone with a little bit of reason, it would be clear that this ship is going one way. Maybe it's not perfect. I'm not going to say it's perfect. And there's questions that get asked to our master orchestrator, Mickey, our AI avatar that orchestrates all workflows. There's questions you can ask, and you can get Mickey to struggle, right? Because it's not, nothing is perfect. Like any human, it's not perfect. It's not trained to everything. But I would say that where our sweet spot is the large enterprises, because if you're a small organization looking for a point solution, you just need to solve one thing, and you know you're not going to use anything else for the future, then go and buy a point solution. But if you have any growth aspirations and long-term planning and expansion, and you know you're gonna, and I don't know many organizations that are not like that, then you should consider a platform. You can don't buy point solutions because they solve a pain, because you're just creating a different pain in the future. So I'll give you a simple example. If you do an outreach from a platform that does prospecting outreach, and then you want to do an outreach to your customers, so you go to a platform who does customer outreach. Those two ways of outreach are, to understand their effectiveness, you need to go and assess each one separately, right? And by the way, they won't use the same playbook, because, or you have to put the playbook twice, and then the playbook changed, so you need to maintain it twice. And that's just a simple example. In bigger companies, we're talking about dozens and dozens of point solutions. So that's when companies come and assess Aviso, they find that we really offer a different way of looking at the enterprise. And something I neglected to mention before is where we differentiate really big time, is that we are not a skin on the CRM, whether you have Salesforce, Dynamics, whatever you're carrying. We're not a skin on it like the competition. We take the data from the CRM. We'll take the data from any platform you give us access to, and we'll build a time series database, which is extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful in two ways. One, you build context for AI, right? So AI now is not trained just on how to answer. It has history and context on the data and the behaviors that were exemplified by reps for over 2 years. And then the second way that the time series, you can time travel yourself. You can say, I want to see how everything looked 3 months ago at the beginning of the quarter. And you can do that easily. You can't do that on Salesforce. You can't do that on other platforms. They don't carry the same context. We also connect, for your example, to your support ticketing system, or whichever data source you give us, data warehouse, data lake. We can pull all that information and train our models. So we not only, again, a skin on another platform, we really operate from context.
So then I think this is very interesting, right? Because at the end, the platform is empowering you to, use using AI and all the power of technology, helping you in all the parts of the sales cycle. You can go back, you can coach through specific situations, but something that we need to be more careful now, even with the AI, is on the humans. We need them to have a critical reflection, reflective critical thinking. We need them to use their sales mindset, and that's the next section I wanted to discuss with you guys, with you and Will. And I mean, it's an open one between the three of us. Is how I mean, the technology is not perfect. It's going to be perfectioning over the years, over the months. As much training as we do, the better it will be. But at the end, there is a human element in B2B sales. There will be always a human. Thanks God for now. And how we help the humans to work with AI and the AI to work with humans is something that is in the cornerstone probably of our partnership, right? So I don't know if let's start maybe the discussion on that, because I think it's important to see how we can keep the sales mindsets that we know that are the successful ones to succeed in a relationship with a customer and a deal and engagement while using AI, right? And from the human perspective, and on the other side is how it will be fantastic to train the AI to have these sales mindsets embedded, because then it will help us to do a better use of the best practices of the sales mindsets, right? So I don't know if you want to throw any thoughts about that, Ofer or Will.
So speaking of being effective, right? Before I said, okay, now I have more time in my hands. As a rep, I can free my mind to think in a how do I address those problems through the lens of the mindsets that Consalia had built the value proposition of many years ago. So maybe that's for context for our views. I've known Consalia for the better part of 15 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
And been in various points throughout your journey and my journey. We've been in touch. I've presented in various events. And finally, when I joined Aviso, I saw the opportunity immediately to not only complement what Consalia does with Aviso and what Aviso does with Consalia, just in a very, very complementary relationship, because it addresses head-on the issues that leaders in the go-to-market organizations I work with care about day by day. But it also gives another layer, if you like, to Aviso, another possible layer of incorporating, to your question before, Will, on coaching. Okay, we coach today. We do all sales enablement features that you can think of exist inside the platform. But to use Phil's analogy, which I like the most, that explains the transformation we're looking for in a sales organization, is becoming from a cocoon to become a butterfly, and that you never come back from being a butterfly. That's it. That's how you carry yourself from here on. That level of transformation needs a bit more than just technology. Yes, you will become a lot more effective, a lot more impactful in front of the customers. But I think what Consalia brings to the table will take you to the step where you can be tremendously successful. And you can do it by you guys stepping in and bringing that service and raising the awareness of what that will give, and touching the points in management where they to buy into that value, but also any transformation, any research ever done on change showed that change that is happening with consistent reinforcement sticks around a lot more than change that's like big bang. All right, we carried the pitch, everybody said yes, and you sink back to your daily routine. And Aviso platform can help you scale in the way that change. So if our AI agent builds an account plan and the rep reviews the account plan and produces modifications, and then he asks a Consalia agent to go through the account plan and see if it has any comments. So Consalia agent goes and checks for the mindset, checks for the coaching moments that matter, and can bring that back to the rep without needing a human to check every account plan that gets created. And he needs to be trained on Consalia content. Right, and think about it again with new reps, new manager. We always think about the tenured reps, but we at any point in time have X percentage of our organization ramping up. How do you ramp up quickly? Well, that's how you scale. So again, a long answer to a short question, but feel free.
No, I mean, I'm happy because you unveiled, what we are doing with the proof of concept, right? So we are building a Consalia agent. We'll have more news in the future, but we are very excited about to train for the first time the AI, a machine, right? Not a human, with our sales mindsets and values, and see how these can go back to the human and help the human to be more human, more into the sales mindsets and challenge all the big problems that the Salesforce has now. Will, what do you think about this partnership? I mean, I know more or less what you think because of course we are the same company.
Well, obviously, it's a real privilege, and it's a privilege to work in a professional capacity with Ofer, as we've got such a long-standing relationship. And Ofer, as you were speaking, I just kept thinking about your presentation at GST that often we kind of refer back to, and advise anyone listening to listen to it. I think it's a really exciting moment. I mean, we're living in a world in which AI is the future, right? And it's not going anywhere. If anything, it's just ramping up and it's getting faster. And I think for us as a business, we're a research-led business. We advocate for the sales mindsets, which, again, for anyone that isn't sure what they are, just quick reminders: client centricity, authenticity, proactive creativity, and tactful audacity. And these are the mindsets that have been proven time and time again as to what customers look for, what are the values they look for in salespeople when they are engaging within the sales process. And they're fundamental, trust. They're fundamental to building relationships and to building trust and things like that. But also, Hezes, to your question, I sort of see things being in two parts almost. And Ofer, to your point, it's we're at a time of change. So adoption is really key, for technology to work. How people can change their behaviors to use the technology that's provided to them and to trust in it and to test it and to, review the outcomes of it. And from our experience as a consulting company, that can be quite a challenge. It can be quite a challenge to get the sort of the buy-in from leadership, the buy-in from the frontline salespeople, and that requires a change. It requires a change in mindset. So there's that part of it, which is really exciting, and then there's the part that you mentioned, Hezes, which is, well, imagine Aviso with a agent so that advocates for the sales mindsets to kind of leverage all of the insights that we've developed over the years to encourage the right sort of behaviors that customers are looking for in salespeople. And I'm really excited about the journey, about the hopefully the proof of concepts that we're on, and seeing the outcomes of how it actually is going to impact in terms of, I think, effectiveness of hopefully
Yes.
we want to see a big uptick in the effectiveness of salespeople.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, the opportunity, I want to think about I presented it, I don't know how many years ago. Like, I remember I had a pirate and I had a gold,
that's right.
how do you call it? The treasure trove, and the pilot needs to get to the treasure trove, and there's a lot of, and I was like, I'm almost always want to think about salespeople as thirsty for gold. Otherwise, why you're in that profession? There's many professions, a lot less stressful. So it's the way we look at it. Like, let's take it to brass tacks. The sales rep, if you're a superhuman, you're gonna blow your number, and you get into those accelerators that we club trips and that higher echelon. That's what we want to make you that you are superhuman, and you can do so much with the territory that you got, that you leave no option for sales manager other than to give you more accounts, and because now you're scaling, right? The time you had when you in 5 years ago with no AI is now more and more usable for you to go and after more and more accounts, because your mundane tasks are taken away. Even high value tasks are taken away. You can really focus your time on customers, on deals, and use all those AI. We have over 100 AI agents, either already 50 plus already deployed, another 50 already in final stages of being getting released, and each one goes and does something. You have all those ants that help you lift. Why not use them? Like, for me, it's qualify us out. How not to qualify us out?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? So we've been making a lot of education and consultancy through these years based on the sales mindsets in the analog world, right? And now we are bringing them into the digital world with Aviso and the AI. Nevertheless, if I jump into another question we have in mind, many times we talk to customers, C-suites or C-levels or head of sales, blah, blah, etc. And many times we have different type of responses in the sense of, we don't know if what is the AI kind of strategy we are going to be following, or I'm not sure to dedicate this budget. What's going to be the return of investment? It's going to be really adopted, right? I'm going to be able to keep the investment year by year. So when you face this kind of concerns, what could you recommend from Aviso first? So what's the idea? Is to maybe try to do like a workshop with the C-suite and trying to let them understand better the power of not just the solution but the entire transformation, or how do you?
Look, I don't think there's a C-suite today that didn't ask themselves the question, all right, what about AI? Again,
no, I think everyone is saying yes. So 99% is saying AI is in my 3 strategic pillars, but there are also other ratios that says less than 10% are really doing something meaningful, right? And maybe there is another 20-30% they are doing something, but they don't know what they're doing. So it's like If you ask AI is in your strategy, everyone will say yes. When you ask, okay, do you have an AI strategy? Then the percentage starts to reduce, right? And then if you ask, is your strategy being successful and having a return? Then it's like less than 10%, right? So, how would you think that we could contribute to educate them more? Is through workshops with them? Is through what?
I think, look, let's put it this way. You cannot just talk about high level AI. You obviously need to break it down to what you're trying to get out of it. And in the end of the day, it's business outcomes. With AI, without AI, we're trying to be as profitable. We want growth, and we want predictable growth, right? And that's what, and we want, and when you want growth, you obviously want less churn. So all those things are kind of built into each other. And when a vendor comes to you and he talks in those terms, then it's on you to understand what is it that the value proposition that they're giving you. Because Aviso, again, sorry, I'm biased, and that's why I joined. A lot of people in my 25-year career came to me and said, "Oh, you put your money where your mouth is, so to speak, your career where your mouth is." I said, yes, because if you open the preview I did for GST 2 years ago, and I spoke about all those point solutions that hit the revenue process, and then I proposed a maturity model to understand how people are adopting it, right? That was the end of the presentation. I spoke about ICP, and I spoke about how a maturity model 5 stages can define, and not only define in one area, you build a maturity model across the organization. You have to define what good looks like. And maybe not aim for the best, but at least number 4 is ROI, and number 5 is transformation. Okay? So if you go through that lens and then stick it to every tool, stick it to processes, to the things you care about, then you can really measure. And why I joined Aviso is because it's not only about productivity, not only about impactfulness, as I said, effectiveness. You can really shrink your OpEx because all those point solutions add up. Some of our customers just looked at their spend on sales tech and said, that doesn't make sense. I don't get the value out of it. And then you come and examine a holistic platform that does everything that those point solution does, but also you get ROI from being on one platform. That starts making sense. Building an AI agent, I say today, anyone can build, fine, but really if you put your mind to it, you can build an AI agent. But can you train it on your sales data from the last 2 years? That starts becoming tricky. How do you collect that sales data? How do you structure it for ingestion? That's what we call large quantitative models. So you can really get answers with credibility. So again, if I would to advise a C-level or a company that looks for how to tap into this rocket ship, I would say, again, look for a platform and do your due diligence. Sometimes you fail at the first step. For example, I'll give a very technical example, Salesforce hierarchy. If you tie to Salesforce hierarchy in your forecasting, then if you're a skin on Salesforce and you tie to that, every time you need to make a change in that hierarchy or introduce new logic, you got to go to Salesforce and implement it. So if I'm an ops guy in a fairly big company and I want to introduce a change to Salesforce, good luck to you, because the roadmap for this quarter is sealed, and for next quarter is only emergencies, and 3 quarters from now they have some capacity, so 3 quarters from now your logic will be introduced. With Aviso platform, you can introduce that logic inside the platform. You don't need to wait for Salesforce to get restructured. If you need product or vertical forecasting, Salesforce can't do that. We can do that. So it sometimes stops before we said AI, it stops already there in the qualification process. Okay, this competition is out, that competition is out. Okay, we're staying with those who can actually do what we need to do. But again, elevating that pitch, it's about maturity. It's about measuring maturity. It's one of the things on the roadmap that I want to introduce because it's extremely helpful. Think about all the reps. We are already scoring reps on their behaviors. So scoring them on exhibiting sales mindsets, rolling it up to management, understanding if the transformation is not happening or not happening, real time. That's a real value proposition from us together with Consalia.
And Ofer, just on that note, on the management side of things, does the platform also, leverage the capability to get best practice from management? Like how should they be reviewing the data? What does this mean? And then prompting managers to what is the best way to engage back within your team?
So I think you're touching upon a point. We will have a whole webinar with Phil on that, because for me, mindsets, okay, the sales mindsets are absolutely clear, but I think there's a set of mindsets that also need to go kind of back into the organization, and we'll talk a lot about that. But I'll tell you a story. The more you climb in the organization, obviously you have insights and data overload, and you understand that change cannot happen in droves, and you need to choose your battles where you're gonna try and change stuff, because the machine or the ship is so big to tilt it and not to break anything. You need to do it in very small incremental steps. But also you need to understand that your power as an executive is not by diving into the very, very small details. You need to be also available to use all sorts of scorecards, understanding scorecards that come up to you. And by very little touch, very little nudge, you can go, I said it always, I use that example of ServiceNow. We had some very elaborate way of measuring the pipeline, which I likened it to a cockpit. Like if you're a cockpit, if you're a pilot, and you have to look at the complete, you need to understand every button, every dashboard, every signal, everything. Like you cannot say, you know what, landing gear fails once in a million times. I don't need one landing gear gauge. Like it's never gonna happen, right? So I'd say the same with pipeline. Pipeline is a very complex problem. It's not just coverage. It doesn't only look through coverage lens. Will hit a wall at some point. So it's a very complex problem. But at the CRO level, he just needs to know that the pipeline health score is reliable, and it's giving him a predictable long-term signal. However, that score is made out of many, many teams. So if he goes to the bottom 10 in the stack rank and nudges them, hey, your score is low, what are you doing? Hey, Jesus, your score is low, what are you doing? And you get it from the CRO of a big company, Jesus will be, I need to get my act together. Yeah. And by the way, in Aviso, you cannot cheat that score. You cannot just stick pipeline in and say, hey, my pipeline problem is over, because Aviso will immediately say, you have no customer engagement. Or the conversations you have with the customers are completely fluff. or
the platform of truth.
The platform of truth. Yeah, which some organizations that actually, when we come with that story to a CRO who wants to hide everything under the carpet, we almost shoot ourselves in the leg. But then the CFO will be very interested in it.
Oh, of course.
So there's different ways to skin that cat. But again, the point is not to make anyone look bad. The point is to help, right? And make sure that the best practices and the mindsets are across the organization, not living in pockets.
Yeah, I think we are here to help, right? So we've mentioned several times today transformation, and for us, transformation always touches 4 pillars, right? So technology is one of them, but of course we have strategy, people, and processes, especially people, right? So that's why I think this partnership makes so much sense for both of us, because we can bring this other 3 pillars dimensions to the Aviso clients, helping into adoption with our sales mindsets. And at the same time, we can offer our customers that are already adopting sales mindsets and all the kind of transformation pillars, the best technology integrated within these sales mindsets, right? And we are going even one step in front of that, which is introducing our sales mindsets and methodologies into an Aviso AI agent that very soon will be shown. Anyway, I think we are like almost 3-4 minutes left, so we are almost at the end. I don't know if Will, you have any more questions, or Ofer, you wanted to do any final words? I know that you have an amazing amazing interview webinar with Phil around pipeline health soon. I think it's on the 7th of October.
Yeah,
I believe. So I think we are announcing that on LinkedIn. We'll have the 2 giants talking together, and we will have a masterclass. And we will of course have more sales frequency with some important people not everyone is important people, right? But some other colleagues from Aviso, right? Like Max and some other ones. But any final comments, or anything you wanna?
No, I covered a lot, did a lot of monologues. I look forward to making a dent with Consalia, like Will said, in a professional relationship, not just, also professional and personal. But we run deep, and we run deep for a reason, because we're I think, leaders in our categories. And when leaders kind of merge the power of the mind, like the like-minded leaders, then great things can happen, and that's what I'm excited to uncover with you folks.
We're excited too.
Yeah, likewise.
All right.
Okay, guys. So thank you very much for all the audience. This will be available in streaming as well. If you're interested in knowing more about this Consalia and Aviso partnership, Aviso and Consalia, just please connect with myself, Will, or Ofer, or any one of us, and we'll be happy to talk with you. I mean, we are already talking to customers, and people is really, really excited about having both things together, because now it's not just another technology that comes here and let's see about adoption, human element, etc., or is not a company that is touching the human adoption, but not the. So now it's everything combined together. So that's much more powerful, right? Anyway, thank you very much, Ofer. It was a super pleasure to have you here, and I think we are done for today. No, Will?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.